Hello and welcome back to the El Chappy Sports Show. I hope you're all doing well out there. I am your host, Dylan, and yeah, before I get any further, please do me a massive favor and like this video and also subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. If you could do that, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. So today I'm going to do a short video based on the LA Rams. They have two picks in the upcoming draft, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. And yeah, it's an interesting scenario they're in, I think. What are they going to do with this pick or these picks? So I wanted to simulate the draft, and I've got the PFF mock draft here. So I wanted to draft as just the LA Rams. So I'm going to select them here and just play out different scenarios that they could go into, and also to give you my thought process of what they could potentially do off the bat. So with that, let's enter the draft to see what they will do. Let me make this slightly bigger for you all so you can see a little bit better. There you go. That should make it a little bit smaller just because there you go. Right. So let's start the draft off. As I say, I do not pick everything except for the LA Rams. So they have, the simulator has gone with Fernando Mendoza number one. Whoa, shock horror. Did not see that one coming. Then Ruben Bain Jr. Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love at 3 for Arizona. Wow, okay. Okay, I love Love. But okay, I didn't see that one. Caleb Downs to Tennessee Titans, okay. Sonny Styles, New York. Connell Tate. I mean, if Connell Tate goes to Cleveland Browns, they would be very happy, I think, of that. Arvel Reese, David Bailey, Mackay Lemon, Mansour Delane, Jimin McCoy, and Cassius Howell. Okay, so it says here the needs are for the LA Rams quarterback, tackle, and cornerback. So just to move myself slightly here, you will be able to then see some of the positions that are available. You'll see Francis McGow, who is probably consensus tackle number one. He's ranked number 11th there. Okay. So you would think that they would draft him. For Caleb Banks, Peter Woods. Okay. So I say the needs they have QB, tackle, and CB. Let's take a look here to see. Let's go back up here. So who are available for cornerbacks? Terrell is available. So Avian Terrell, his brother plays for Atlanta Falcons. He was drafted in the year 2000, pick number 16, I believe. AJ, is it AJ Terrell? So yeah, so good quality there. He's ranked number 18 on the PFF big board. I'm not going corner here, obviously, for the LA Rams. If we're going quarterback, obviously, oops, let me delete that. Just go quarterback. Ty Simpson, he is ranked 36th with the average draft position of 29.8, so basically 30th. So this is where I find it interesting, or a little bit interesting at least. So for me, I'm going to move myself back over here. So for me, I think the LA Rams have a decision to make. They got a big decision to make. Because I think as the combine and draft process continues, I think Ty Simpson will go up the board. I do believe currently I would place Ty Simpson higher than rank of 36. I think he's like in the top 25 odd, 25 plus. And I do think if I was to draft him now, I can see the middle to late rounds he would be selected. right now in the first round of the draft. However, think that he will go up the boards very quickly to more middling grounds. I do believe there are some teams to keep an eye out. I do believe potentially the Jets at 16 would look to, well, depending on the off season, obviously, but they are currently, without knowing what's going on with the combine, free agency, anything, you've got to think the Jets would potentially look at Ty Simpson at 16. You've also got to think about Minnesota Vikings at 18, even though I think that would be a stretch for them to go and get Ty Simpson. You've also got to think that Pittsburgh at 21, whether Aaron Rodgers resigns or not, he has a potential to go there. And you've also got to look at, as I say, the LA Rams at 29. And also, you've got to look at the possibility of, in my opinion, the Arizona Cardinals jumping back in to the first round from the second round. Because Arizona, they are picking 34th in the second round. And it might be a possibility that they could leapfrog in ahead of LA Rams to more as I say, maybe the range 24, 25, 26, 27 through kind of range to leapfrog the LA Rams, because we all know if you do set your eyes on a quarterback, it's better to make them a first round pick from a second round pick, because you got the added insurance of a 5th year option and stuff like that. So these are all things that the LA Rams need to think about. They also need to think about next year. What are the quarterbacks coming out next year going to look like? I think there's a better crop next year, obviously. I'm sure they will be evaluating everything from the potential quarterbacks from next year's draft and comparing them to Ty Simpson. Now, the problem we have is, obviously, look at some of the people that they were drafting last year and saying, not drafting, but looking at last year coming out in this year's. Cade Klubnik is one example. He was, I think, consensus top 10 first round pick this time last year. Now, I think he's probably a day 3 pick. So your evaluations are always going to be quite tough at this stage to make with the projections of stuff. But that's what scouts have to do. That's what teams have to do. So I would be very interested to see where Ty Simpson lies compared to next year's QB draft. And in terms of where they believe he would be in that draft, could dictate whether they look to draft him at 13. And I know most people will think that's a stretch and would think that I'm absolutely crazy for even considering that. But I think that time has told us that teams who are after quarterbacks will always overvalue and select them at a higher rate, especially when the fact of you've got Matthew Stafford for the LA Rams, who will probably play for at least 1 more year, if not 2 more years. So Ty Simpson can sit with him easily. So that is a discussion. Do they value him as a starting quarterback, or do they believe that they can get a starting quarterback from next year's draft, considering next year they only have 1 pick, and considering they probably think that they're going to be picking number 32 next year. So they have a lot of options. Les Snead has a lot of options here, whether they utilize this pick 13 or hope that somebody wants to come up and offer them their next year's pick, so they have 2 first rounds next year with more ammo. Or if no one does offer and have to stick and pick, do they go for the best player available and hope that potentially Ty Simpson's there at number 29, pick 29? Or do they try and trade back slightly with the risk of knowing that the Jets are picking a 16 and possibly could pick up, as it currently stands, they could pick up Ty Simpson? There's a lot of thought process that goes into it. I mean, the mock drafts all will say, "I'll just let it ride, just pick for need right here, and forget about Ty Simpson." There's plenty of people or plenty of quarterbacks to pick next year. But you got to think about where they're going to be selected next year. If you are the LA Rams, you have to believe that you'll be selecting pick 32 because you believe you'll be winning that Super Bowl. So if that's the case, will you have enough ammo to go up and get one of the quarterbacks you want next year? And it doesn't have to be the first overall pick. It can be that cluster of top 5 picks. Are they better than what Ty Simpson is this year? And only they know that. So that's why this will be interesting to me. The added benefit that Ty Simpson has, if they do select him, I think, do you know what? I think he would be QB3, QB4 next year, coming out in the draft. That's our prediction. Then is it not worth him sitting behind Matthew Stafford for a year or two to learn from him? That would give him added benefit. So all this is food for thought. With this mock draft, I'm not going to select him at 13, but I do think that in this process, he could very well be selected pick 13, or if they go back slightly, he will get picked up. I think that Ty Simpson currently, before the combine, he will be a late first round pick. I do believe that throughout this process, he will be a, I don't know, 11 to 20 pick in the draft potentially. I don't think he'll be a top 10 pick. I don't. Not even though I'm looking at high ceiling here, I don't think he'll be a top 10 pick. I think Fernando Mendoza is the number 1 quarterback in this draft, but I don't think it's a massive gap towards Ty Simpson. Also, you need to remember that we're evaluating this based on what we see in college. We have to also predict about their traits in the NFL. There's never a surefire thing in the NFL. You know, when you think about Patrick Mahomes getting picked in 10th place with pick 10, and you got like Carson Wentz number 2. You know, there's no surefire thing in the draft. You can only predict. So is he worth a shot or not? Is the question. So yeah, so I'm not going to pick him here, but I do think it's a required discussion, and I would not be surprised if he will be looked at to be picked at this spot when it's all said and done. So with that, I'm going to go with a tackle, and if he is available, I'm going to pick Francis Mangua. I butcher his name, and that means that people have just been picked after that is Keldrick Falk, Caleb Banks, okay, Peter Woods, Spencer Fano. He's an interesting cat, Spencer Fano. I'll do some research on him right now, and he seems to be consensus tackle too, but I've seen some rumblings, and so I'm not sure. I need to do more research on him. Terrell goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Actually, that's where I would place him. That's where I actually, in my other mock draft, I haven't obviously done, but I did a mock draft for myself and I put Terrell with the Minnesota Vikings actually. So, okay, some of these wide receiver Tyson, okay, TJ Parker, okay. So the positions that are left, I just move myself very quickly over here, is tight end, Kenyon Sadik, Caden Proctor, Caleb Lomu. Okay, so there's a fair few tackles left according to this simulation. So that's what I mean. You don't need to panic and get a tackle early on, potentially. So okay, that's interesting. Can you imagine if they went for 2 tackles? Because I do think that Caden Proctor could possibly be a guard. Caleb Lomu as well. I'd be quite tempted if they don't think that he is that Ty Simpson is the guy. Why can't they go for 2 tackles? I've not done this simulation. This is just come up, and I'd be quite tempted if I was a Rams to take two tackles right now. Would you not be? I'm not going to, but I would be tempted to. If this was, I would be very tempted to get Caden Proctor in this position, or even Caleb Lomu. I lean towards Caden Proctor more. Yeah, sacks 2, 3, 4, 3, hurries 15. Okay, but I can see him slot into the guard position as well. His draft position has dropped quite significantly, but is currently back on the rise. Currently back on the rise. But his stock has gone down, but that doesn't mean too much to me. Now here's a guy. That's not been filled in yet, but okay. I'm surprised with that. I didn't expect that. He's 366 pounds, 6'7". He's not even 21 yet. He won't be 20. Well, he might be 21 when the draft comes around. Okay. I mean, I'm tempted. I'm tempted. Especially if I'm not going to go with Ty Simpson, then I would definitely do it, I think. But they have got a QB need. I do believe I have to go for a QB here. I have to think that I actually think that Ty Simpson will be off the ball by now. However, because he still is available, I think I have to select him. I mean, you have to take that punt. However, I would probably look to, if he's not the guy at 13, I think I probably would look to go back in the draft and try and get more picks so we can give it a go next year. But I'm going to have to go with Ty Simpson here. So, how do they grade it? How do they grade my draft here? Let's have a look. I have to keep moving myself here. So they say that the tackle is A plus. So Francis is A plus, and Ty Simpson is an A. So overall draft guide A. Draft rank top 15 of LA Rams drafts. I don't know what that means, but sure. Like as I say, these are just like I don't take too much. I don't really care that they grade me A plus or A. Well done me, I suppose. Because there is a school of thought that I could draft him a lot higher. So just to prove that, let me just do this. Let me try a new mock draft where I do the same again. Let me pick Ty Simpson at this position at 13 just to see what would happen. And then I have Caden Proctor then there. Grading your draft. So I get a C for Ty Simpson and I get an A for Caden Proctor. I'll leave that there. It doesn't really make much difference there. I'm just playing out this live, so sorry about how messy it is. But yeah, so there you go. Something to watch out for anyway. I'll leave that video there. It's getting a bit long in the tooth now, but thank you if you made it to the end, which probably a lot of you have probably struggled to make it to the end. But thank you so much for your support. Please make sure you like and please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And with that, I'll chat you out. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.